Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. Royal family, we got that move. We got that move, baby. We got that move. Um, all right. So yesterday, we were looking at the potential of losing our 1 hour level that we were watching for, saying, hey, we need to hold this level right here. So it's round about this level right here. I said, if we lose this right here, look for price to come back down here to the ascending trend line. We got the bounce off of the ascending trend line. I entered a new long position, which I closed out at the 786. So we already pressed into the 786 and pushed past the 786. So if you were here with me yesterday morning when I did the stream, I left you with those words. Look for price action to come back to none other than the ascending trend line. I told you that below this ascending trend line, my views would start to change a bit. It was very important. It's a very, very, very important trend line. Very important trend line. Okay. We swept the liquidity from the prior high over here. So we're getting a little bit of a reaction right now. We hit some levels that are, can typically be unsustainable. But you know where I'm looking for price action to get to. I'm still looking for price action to get to the top here and take out the take out the mother bar. That's what I'm still looking at. So that has not changed for me. Neither has my bias. When my bias would change, my emotions for being bullish would change. It would change below here. Okay. So that's all the same. Everything looks pretty decent in my opinion. Just looking at the 4 hour time frame. Daily a little sus, but I'm trying to keep my outlook towards the higher time frames. That's been the one thing that has been playing to my benefit, is keeping my bias towards the higher time frames, because you're going to get a lot of noise on your 15-minute, a lot of noise on your 1 hour. Sometimes you'll get a lot of noise on your 4 hour, but if you just push it out, just push your time frame out and just focus on your higher time frame, it'll give you a signal late if it is a reversal to the downside, but you'll have a clearer view of what the market is trying to do. And that's what I'm just trying to stick with right now. What is the market trying to do? And based on behavior, we can see that it's not trying to go down right now. It is not trying to go down right now. It's trying to push higher. Like I said, you keep knocking, you knock. Eventually the door will open. You'll break down the wall, whatever the situation is. So yeah, liquidity swept from the prior high, which was this one here. I did tell you that I would have to look to enter a new short position. I did enter a new short position. Not bearish, but I'm just playing the waves. If the market tells me to go long, I'm going long. That's what I did. We dropped back down into here, into our ascending trend line. I entered a new long. I closed that out at the 786. I do still have my long position open from lower. And also, like I said, I entered a new short, not because I'm bearish, because I'm not bearish in the least bit. I'm not overly bullish. I'm not bearish in the least bit either. So let's see right here. What did we get? All right. So when I said, when we get back down here, we lose this, look for price action to come here, back to the trend line. You can see I entered my long position back here off of the trend line right here. I rolled that up to the 786. I killed the trade at the 786. Trade went a little bit higher. Cool. I'm in a new short. Because the short position that I had open, which was while I was on vacation, it did all of this. And it was a hedge against my my long position. I did not take profit on any portion of that short position. Again, it was just a hedge for me. I let the market come back and stop me out. It was a beautiful short too. A beautiful short. I should have taken that money. I should have taken it, but I didn't. It was just a hedge. That's it, just a hedge. Same for this one because I'm really looking for price to get up here. So if we don't get up there and the short does start to pay out, this time I will take it. This time I will take it. Um, we do have a squeeze on the 15-minute time frame that could push us back up still. That could push us up. The reason why I'm saying that that squeeze could push us up is because of MACD. You know, it looks flaggy. It hasn't had really had strong momentum to get that push up. Let me show you right here. Now this all looks great right here. We're at our first mean reversion right here. Second mean reversion is going to be at 77,782 right here. But you can see right here how we just kind of been chopping. So I've been watching to see when the momentum was actually meeting up with it. But right here, if you take a look here at the MACD, you can see that our MACD is well above our zero, well above our delta right now. You see the red dots at the top up here. So momentum is currently, you know, it's a bit stagnant. It's a bit stagnant. It's not bad, but it is a bit stagnant. Once I can see clearly. Now, the delta is pretty close to the zero line, which means it can just flip right back up. All of this looks decent. It can flip right back up and push us up higher, okay? So just take note of that. I'll leave that open right there. Let's push through past the 15-minute time frame. Okay, I see the Coin King has posted a little poll here. I don't have any votes on it right now, but do you believe cryptocurrency will exist 10 years from now? I'm gonna give that a yes. All right, so I'm the first on that. All right, so over here, let me turn this off for a sec. Okay. All right, so price action slightly higher than this pivot over here. Slightly higher than this pivot over here. So slight bear div in the current state that it is in right now. Probably invalidate this soon um, to continue that push higher. That can get invalidated. But in its current state, it is a bear div against this pivot over here. I like to see that invalidation take place. It doesn't have to, but still, that SFP was a good place to consider taking a new short position. So, in the short, baby, in the short. Let's see. MACD looks good. This is all above, all above, all above, all above here. So, yeah, never any strong invalidation here when we got to move down either. So just the bounce away and the continuation to the upside here. Um 4 hour, same scenario. I went through yesterday and I just marked out my it looks noisy on my 4 hour time frame here. But just think of it like you're looking at a volume profile, all right? And these are just volume nodes through here. Have to look at it like that. Pretend that that's what you're looking at. If the noise is bugging you, I can turn the noise off and I can turn on zones. So I did map it out both ways, but still holding strong over here on the 4 hour time frame. You do see the slight bearish divergence in here. It could be, you know, due to a specific wave that we're currently in on the chart as well. So don't let the bear div always, dictate whether or not it's going to go down. You know, it may not. Usually you'll get a bear div in between a 4 and a 5, or a C wave or something like that. So I don't see anything to really be concerned about. I'm just riding the waves once again, just riding the waves. And here you can see MACD still looks nice in here. You can see the momentum is not as appealing. So it's not extending up as high right now, but we did flip back to bulls being in control because the entire time we was getting this push up, it wasn't showing anything like that. We was just straight up neutral. Um, and it finally flipped into bulls being in control. Now bulls were still in control. It was just that you couldn't tell that you had a trend on the 4 hour time frame. So it wasn't a strong trend, which is why it read neutral for me. But that has since changed. A little bit of an extension here, which is why you got the red dot right there on the RSI. So it was getting a little bit of extension. We are still outside of standard deviation 2, which means that the trend is pretty strong right now. So if you take a look at the Bollinger Band itself, you can see that price action is still outside of standard deviation 2, which means it's still very strong. You know, you look for it to come back inside below standard deviation 2. This is still pushing. It's still pushing up pretty strong right here. So that's what you got here with a spread. So you got an open hand right here. So you do have a spread right here. That's why I'm also saying, hey, we got that squeeze on the 15-minute time frame. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to break to the downside. It could be a squeeze that forces us up higher. Still looking for liquidity up here. Well, not well, still looking for price to push higher. So that can still happen in here. It's usually not wise to really short outside of standard deviation too. You push into one of the other deviations, then sure. But like I said, SFP a bit extended on the 15 doesn't mean it's going to come down that much, but right now pretty decent, pretty decent. So next resistance on the 4 hour is going to be right around the 78, 850, oh 06 is going to be the next resistance. What I like to look for is for price action to push through and then fall back below, just like it did over here. Push through and then fail to close outside of it is something that I like to look for as we come into these levels, something like that. All right, and then we get through here and start looking up here in that area, up a bit higher. But right now, I'm just looking again for this right here, which is around your 50% retracement. Um, yeah, around your 50% retracement there. Let's see, daily time frame here. You can see the 50% retracement is sitting here. You can see the mother bar high, which I have identified through the line right here. And this is a weekly mother bar high. This is a daily time frame, but that marks it out. And you take a look down here. You can see that we're still pushing. We have invalidated any sort of bearish divergence that was between this high, this peak right here, and over here. So that's already been done. I can adjust this now. I'll move this over here. And so this is what I'd be looking at, us swinging up above and looking for us to roll back below. So I'm going to look for us to push up and roll back below here. Market, market is consistently putting in bullish and bearish divergence. So when you see me doing this, that's what I'm looking at. It's a consistent thing all day long, bullish and bearish divergence. Okay. So it just helps me identify where strengths and weaknesses may come in at. All right. I still have this pinned as weak because it is just based on the formation for the fast signal. We're above it, but it's still weak. The implied signal, we've ever so slightly pierced it, but it's still weak. And then the accelerated signal is still chopped because it's still sitting here at the midpoint, which a lot of your indicators are going to be based on your midpoint. So it's still sitting around the midpoint, which means that, if we were to get a rollover, there could be a strong chance that we could get a mean reversion. And then, of course, it'll be identifying what that mean reversion would be at here on the chart, on the candlesticks. So that's that. MACD still posture still positive. Posture is still positive. It's still positive. Why? Because the MACD is still far above the zero line, far above the delta. We had some lights out here for just a second right there. You can see that little slight color shift in there. But at the end of the day, it implies a correction and not a reversal as long as it's up here. Now again, and I repeat myself every day. This is the mother bar right here. This is the coiling, everything inside of this candle. Inside of this candle, this is just price action coiling for when it's supposed to move. You can see what I was saying to you the other day too about the green, because we have this squeeze in here. We still need to close outside of this on a weekly time frame, outside of that 20 SMA on a weekly time frame, in order for it to validate the breakout of the squeeze. Right now, we do have the breakout of the squeeze. So we are above the 20 SMA. Basically, is all this is saying to you is we had a squeeze on the Bollinger. We're outside the 20 SMA. Now you're not going to see it on the physical Bollinger. You're not going to see it here because it's not based on the physical Bollinger Band. But you can see how we're above the 20 SMA, and that's the reason why you got that grayed out color as opposed to the green. And I carried you through this scenario where three other times it did, you know, it either formed the bottom or it was close to the bottom when we saw the squeeze on the weekly time frame. Right. One of the things that did happen at least twice was we got the closure above the 20 SMA, and then we rolled down for that final drop, and then we got the rally to the upside. So the reversal, uh, bull market reversal came in after that. So, but we'll see what happens in here. Again, I'm not trying to call a top or a bottom. I think that anything, I think if we're closing up here anywhere, then I would have to say that it is a reversal. But if we're just taking the liquidity above here and we're not trying to hold a range up here, then it's just a correction to the upside, and that's it. But that is where we are right now with this right here. Like I said, looking to just sweep this, sweep this, sweep this, sweep this. Very common to have an outside bar, sweep liquidity on one side, and then go back and take the other side. It's very, very, very common. Very common. In fact, here's a good example. Since I'm here now, here's a good example. We had the coiling right here. But we stayed inside of our mother bar. This is our mother bar right here. You stay inside of it. Very common. You go up, whichever side you sweep, the other side you run. That's how I'm used to seeing it. Anyway, that's what I'm used to seeing. Doesn't have to be that way, but that's what I'm used to seeing. So could be a sweep and then a breakdown, just like over here. It came up, it stayed inside of here for a while before it finally swept the mother bar. Once it swept it, it rejected, and then you got to run to the downside. Okay, over here was a little bit different because you didn't come back up to it right here where you had the bar at right here. Price action decided. Right here, there was no guesswork in anything. There was no hard work in anything. It stayed inside of the mother bar right here. And when it did, you can see how initially it did this sweep and then it came back in. But nah, the resistance held it down and it continued down. So that's what you got. That's what you got right here. Looking for another sweep. And then we'll see if we don't come back down here and sweep this level right here. The only thing, again, is what I said. Trading, if we do a run in here and not a sweep, then could be a full-on reversal. But this is all we have right now. So Um, you see this. This has been holding steady. So this is what I have liked about the weekly time frame. It's still corrective as long as this is like this. Like I said to you yesterday, and then I said three, and I was joking around. I said two, but there are three conditions for a reversal on an MACD. And the only reason why I'm talking about MACD so much is because I see people talking about the MACD, and they use it in the most simplest manner, and that's not how you use it. It's not as simple as a little, the MACD cross above the signal line. It's not simple like that. Like there's more complexity to the MACD than just that. So again, MACD below zero in this type of environment, you can just come up, you can get a correction and come up and then fall back down. Like this is corrective as long as it's down here like this. It stops being corrective when the MACD crosses above zero, crosses above delta, and delta is in agreement with the MACD. Because if the delta starts pinning down, then that means that the MACD is converging. So it's converging, it's coming towards the signal line. So you want those three things: above zero, above delta, and agreement. You need to see that. Right now, whatever's happening in here basically can just be corrective, and that's it. Just corrective, and that's it. We'll know later. Like I said, we'll know later, just like back in here. Back over here, it was just corrective this entire time through here. MACD is already crossed the signal line right here, but you see price action continues to roll over. It's like I said, the sequence is MACD above zero, the MACD above delta, and the delta and MACD in agreement. So they both have to be rising once that happens. And then from there, everything else where the MACD stays above the zero, stays above the delta, it's just corrective waves, just corrective, just corrective, just corrective until finally it breaks back below zero, it breaks below delta, and they're both agreeing with each other. You can see like right here when the MACD dropped below the delta didn't agree. Delta was rising. So that means that the MACD was converging towards the signal line, which is why you got this push up right here. But it was just a correction, and we can see the bear flag, but you can use all of those things together and say, okay, that's just a correction, and it's going to continue to roll up because you don't have that next sequence again, which is MACD above delta, MACD above zero line, and MACD and delta agreeing with each other. So that's where we are right now. Nothing saying reversal, it's still saying correction, at least until it's not. You can see that repeatedly, at least until it's not. Okay. So that's that right now. We are agreeing for a correction. For a correction. All right. And this is where things get a little sticky here. I was talking about RSI. And again, I'm repeating myself again. RSI, though, RSI does have a historical floor here on the monthly time frame. Um, you can see where I'm starting this out from flat zone over here because that's the lowest point that I have in here for it, is here. And then break below, cross back above, and continue up. Really looking forward to get above 50. So once it's at 49.41 right now. I haven't seen it turn back down. Now it does still have to close like that on the monthly. Today is just April 22nd. Okay. Still has to close like that on the monthly where it's above 50, which is why I got the trend line, the vertical line in here where it's above 50, how it just continued up. Break below the historical floor and reclaim. Break below the historical floor, curve back up above that historical floor. It doesn't seem to turn back down. So like I said, and it's at and it held support. It held the support through here. it held the prior highs in here, which is something that is done before in the past too. So that's, I mean, that's what we have right now. This will be the only catalyst for me, which is why I say when you're calling for the golden pocket, if you're calling for anything more than the sweep right here, it could end up being a full on reversal. I don't know right now. I don't know because it can roll back over, and if it does and it roll back over, then I'll be looking for it to come down and put in some sort of divergence against the monthly time frame. But even, I mean, like even so, right here, you got the bull dip between this low and this low. You do have bullish divergence on the monthly time frame, and then of course, like I said, your MAC up, not that one. I moved it up, not that one either. MACD. This is corrective on the monthly. It rarely rolls down here, but it did do it twice. So we got time. We got time. All right, back over here to the fun stuff, the volatility. Back over here to this. This, as you can see, momentum is moving rather fast against price action. This is a failed state of a reversal, and again, this is corrective for another push to the upside. It's moving way too fast. We would have to see, like, get a little momentum bar right there. We would have to see a fast move to the downside. But you can see that momentum bar just popped out right here. We got that squeeze here. We do have a squeeze. We have a squeeze right here. So we're looking to break out. And you can see the squeeze from right here as well. You can see the squeeze right here. Hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful trading week. I must say, I mean, we're just on day 3. Today's what, Wednesday? It's been great. Past several weeks has been great. Been really good. I'm grateful. I don't have any sort of setup on the chart, and that's because I told you what to look for already. So either you tuned in yesterday and you listened to the plan, confirmed the plan, worked out, and got in. Because if you didn't do that, I have nothing right now. We're here. We're around a high right now, so I don't have anything right now other than to look for the short that could come into play. And I've explained the plan on that. So I mean that's it. If you didn't catch the SFP, didn't catch that, then you know what I'm looking for up here. I don't have anything beyond, until we get there. Except maybe me getting stopped out of the short that I'm currently in and looking up here. But this is where I do start looking at a short. Not a new long, not a new long from here. Long was down there. Long was right here. Just squeezing tighter and tighter on this 15-minute. Waiting on the shenanigans. Waiting on the shenanigans. Oil, I'm gonna get into oil again. It's holding steady. Uh, we did witness the breakout of the falling wedge yesterday, but nonetheless, it just came up to the next level of resistance, came back down, back tested the prior resistance as support, and then we got to bounce up. And I'm gonna cover that in just a second. I'm just trying to see if we matching each other. If the energy is matching right here is what I'm watching. I don't think we have any data today either. Um, nope, nothing today. Everything hit us yesterday. Everything hit us yesterday. We got Tesla earnings. I don't recall if it's aftermarket or pre-market for Tesla. Check that out. Oh boy. Market has been getting kind of boring. around my streaming time here lately too. Uh, just remember I used to do 4 a.m. and catch all the moves at 4. All the moves. 4 o'clock. You gotta be up for it though. And then it goes silent up until market opens. And then you might get, a little bit of volatility and then it goes silent again. Bitcoin, let's do something. I'm gonna keep it basic today. I'm not gonna stay in until market opens or anything like that. I really don't have anything new to add to the situation other than what I've said before is that I'm looking for price action to come up and take the liquidity above this high right here. If from this Binance chart, you're looking at 79,360. On this Binance chart, you can just go on whatever chart that you actually use, go to your weekly time frame, um, highlight that high of that mother bar, and look for that to transpire. Look for the liquidity above that bar to be taken, and look for a rejection off of that. And like I said, you got the 50% right here, but that's not my focus. 50% retracement is not my focus. It is simply that. That is my focus. We filled in that CME gap completely as well. If you recall the CME gap, we filled that in 100. So that was this gap over here. Huge gap that has been filled. And of course, we talked about this gap right here, which put us on a 4 hour. Actually, let's go with a daily. So just depending on what time frame you're on, it's gonna look slightly different. I can drop this down for the daily to look like that, but there is this gap right here on this chart, CME. Which, like I said, you look at it from a weekly perspective, it lines up with none other than your mother bar right here. Lines up with your mother bar. So lines up with taking that liquidity in here. I like it. Again, it's sensible to me. Makes sense to me. Also, here, 45, I bit. So ETF. This is like your biggest strike. This strike right here. That's also where the other bar is at. Right here. Oh, I'm sleepy this morning. You got liquidity up there too. I don't have it marked out on this 15-minute. I do have it marked out on the other time frame though. Sometimes I get tired of marking out the liquidity and dragging these things out every day. I do. I could change it to make it a little bit easier and just drop a horizontal line on it. That'll make it a lot easier. Uh, Strike this morning. I mean, it may have been yesterday. It moved for 46. Just cool to possibly that gap fill. But as we do start to see, like I said, usually when you come into those large strikes, you get some sort of volatility, possible sale from dealers, and then they buy the dip. You keep going up. That's it. It's a good month. It's a good month. Take a look at liquidity heat map here. 78.9 liquidity. It's like that 50% retracement. That yeah, it's 24 hour. Let's see 48. We do have some pretty good liquidity below us. I've already covered what I felt like the bearish scenario would be, or where I would be looking for price to come to the downside to take liquidity if and when that ever happens. What that looks like on the chart. Got some nice equal lows down there. Definitely be my first place of interest to ride a short down to. And in this case, of course, it's going to be here. Oh, still just flagging out right here. Oh boy. While it's taking this little sweet time, let me take a look at oil. All right, so we're talking about oil, which did get the breakup out of the wedgie structure that we had in here. So the falling structure over here, we did see the breakout yesterday. It kept hitting resistance in here up until the Trump speech took place at the 87.59. It kept hitting resistance in here. We moved from this resistance level up into VWAP and up into the next resistance level, which is 92.6, 92.05. So 92.05, which was the next level of resistance up above here, but it's still holding in between. You can see how it even came back and back tested the resistance, prior resistance at 87.59. It held it as support. So if this is a real breakout, I look for it to continue higher. You can just do like a measured move and plot that out. It doesn't appear that it would take out this high up here. It doesn't look like that sort of situation. Usually that's something to look for, but it's usually around about the second to the last, but maybe it does something more so like back in here around this 99.31 if it does continue to push up in here. So 99.31 is what I'll be looking for if we do get through here. Right now it's just stalling. I know that we got the ceasefire and all of that again too. I don't want to, base the analysis around any of that, you know, any of that stuff. So great levels, great levels. I posted on this a couple of times. Um, you know what? Something I want to address because I'm not saying that there is no manipulation when it comes to oil. I don't know, but I can tell you that there were things in the chart that suggested the price action too. Simply put, there were things in the chart that suggested that this was the account. I heard some people talking about, oh, somebody took a short from right here. Well, we actually looked at this and pinned out that that could be the case. That price pushes up into there and rejects. Like, can people not just do that too? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I keep hearing, oh, the manipulation. Probably, maybe it is, but you can also see stuff in the chart. People saying that, oh, they shorted right here. You got 5 ways to the upside with an ending diagonal. Why can't they just see that and take the short? Why can't we just be at a prior high and swing fail and short? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Why can't that happen? Oh, they went long down here before he gave the speech about the okay, so why we couldn't hold support? Why? Why we couldn't hold support and get a bounce? Why we can't hit resistance? Oh, ceasefire, it's not happening. Why we can't just be, natural reaction of resistance? I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Let me see what spy wrong way. See what the good old spider is looking like. Okay, so we know we got that little drop right there yesterday. The day before that, we were looking at the fact that we did see a momentum break. But like I said, SPY just looks simply like a little bit of a correction and continuation is what the SPY looks like. So it continues to look like that, just a little um, small little sell off in here. I said something about that. Let's see. I know we talked about it the day it happened too, but I said something about it prior. Well, I know while I was on vacation, I tweeted something on it. But it just looks corrective and looks like it will continue higher. That's what it looks like right now. You can see right here. Same thing as what we had in here yesterday. So, I mean, yeah, so it looks fine. No complaints there. Coming back down here towards our ascending trend line here for USDT dominance, ascending broadening formation, typical bearish formation in here. You have this right here that looks bullish. My focus has been on this right here, but I'm going to trap price in between where it's getting resistance and where it's getting support. That's basically it right here. Just trapping price on where it finds support at and where it finds resistance at. So about to snap back into this right now. And we'll see if we're going to hold that as support this time or if we're going to break it. Even if we do break it, we're going to come into some immediate support somewhere down here around that 6.85%, 650%. So we're going to come into support down in here either way it goes, okay? If that happens, if it doesn't bounce from here this time and it does get the breakdown. The actual measure move, as I covered with you, it does suggest that it goes all the returns to its macro trend line. So if you go over on your monthly time frame, your weekly time frame, there is a macro trend line that the USDT dominance has respected for many years. It does highlight that it goes back down there to that. And like I said, maybe that has some merit to some things that could take place on that monthly time frame over there on Bitcoin. Maybe that does have some merit with that. Don't know right now. Again, just riding the waves. Market say go long, I go long. The market, looks like the probability of going short, and I go short, and that's it. The rest of it will reveal itself. And I just trying to stay focused on that for the most part. Just, leave the rest of it out of it. Because it will drive you crazy. It will most certainly drive you crazy. All right, let's push us back over here on Bitcoin as we are just kind of sideways. This is the VIX right here. This trend line right here, not so useful anymore. It was a point where VIX would come in and pop, 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 pop. And then we started watching these two areas in here, this center room right here, and then of course the main area where price action might reject from. And I think momentum is starting to push up a little bit better here on Bitcoin. So let me jump back over here on this. Yeah, starting to look better. Still not agreeing just yet, but it is starting to look better. And like I said, the 4-hour price action is outside the standard deviation 2, which is bullish. Indicates strength, indicates an expansion. On the 4-hour time frame, there is an expansion, as we are still sitting outside of standard deviation 2. We still have about an hour on that 4-hour candle. So the 8 o'clock time will be coming in, and I will be ending the stream today at 8. And if you are here, please be so kind to hit the like button and subscribe if you have not subscribed. It is much appreciated. I love what I do, and I do it because I love it. And my intent is to always make sense out of the market. That's always my intent. And you will not find me regurgitating. I like to think that I say it first, but great minds think a lot. So it's a lot of people in this space who may think like I think. But it's most certainly not a channel that you would tune into where I'm regurgitating things that other channels are saying. I do the work all on my own. And I just come in here and I share it. So that's how it works for me. I do a lot of studying. I do a lot of back testing. I do a lot of making money. I do a lot of losing money just to test things out. Especially when I get in my testing phase. Oh boy, when I get in my testing phase, I will blow something up trying to figure it out. But and I do tend to work with a lot of indicators too. So and I do that because I study. Like I said, I study a lot, and so I will jump into an indicator and I will dissect the indicator, and I will use it a lot just so I can thoroughly speak about it in a way that other people don't talk about it, because most people, like I said, they're just generic. They're very generic. Somebody said you do this, and that's what everybody regurgitates. And like I said, I'm not a channel that regurgitates. I'm a channel that does the work, and I study very hard to figure things out, to dissect things, to um, train my mind to see the patterns or things that are common, blah 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 blah, this, that, and the third. But I do use a lot of indicators because I do study a lot of indicators, and I do go in and modify a lot of indicators too. Old indicators, I will take them and I will turn them into my own, try to make them a little bit easier to understand. And I like it. I mean, it's fun. It's psychology, so I love it. We're trying to get that breakout and that squeeze to the upside. We're really trying. And at this point, I can tell you this: there's no reason for us to come back to this trend line right here and bounce from it. Not again. Not again. There is no reason for us to do that again. The idea at this point is to not, if you're bullish beyond the point that I am, there's no reason for it to come back to it again. That's not strength. If it continues to come back to it, it's not strength, it's weakness. Eventually it's going to break it, take the liquidity down below it, probably continue um, with that move to the downside. There really isn't a reason. When you want to see momentum continuing to rise, it's not rising if it's coming back to a trend line. And that was the last time I was able to say look for it to come back down here to this trend line, because it just made sense looking at the 4 hour time frame that it was a probability that it would come back into here and hold one more time. But I don't see a reason going forward that it should come back in here again. I just don't see one. 4 hour, you do still have your um, moving average still running up that trend line, so it makes it. See, I still don't see the agreement here, but like I said, we are trying to push higher, so that breakout could happen. Uh, but again, price action is moving a little bit faster. It's moving a little bit faster than momentum. But price action is king too. Price action is definitely king. And something I don't do, because it is a squeeze in here, I don't set my stop loss for here, Because if it's a Bollinger Squeeze and it breaks out, it will break out impulsively. I automatically get stopped out. That's how I see it. So I don't set my stop for up there. I set my stop a little bit closer to where it would potentially get that breakout from. That way I can save myself some money and some time. Because if it's breaking out, it's breaking out. It'll be impulsive if it's breaking up that way. If it's breakdown impulsive, great. Great. I can take some profit on it. But if it's breaking up, I'm not putting my stop up there. It's going to get hit anyway. Save a few dollars. See that pushing up because I think we're around like a 40 something with a negative 36 now. That's creeping up. That's breaking through. It's breaking out. It's trying to break. Yeah, it's breaking to the upside now. Right now. Yeah. It's not moving fast, but it's breaking to the upside. So yeah, that was it. That was it right there for me. I went ahead and let it take me out. I let it take me out. Good morning, Why Crypto YT. Good morning. Goof morning. Oh man. Send it. The Coin King said send it. It's sending real slow out of this Bollinger Squeeze right here. The bottom band didn't fold out, didn't, hand open. It didn't do that. And then we got the rejection back inside of it. Um, take that away. Let's put it on. It's a little squeeze right there. Playing with my feelings. Come on, Bitcoin. Don't play with me. I already let you stop me out with the intent that this move was going to be, push. Let me turn this off for a bit right here. I don't need, actually, let me just turn off the color. Turn off the color. I am automatically going to close out my long once we get above here. If we get above here too, if the one that I have from a bit lower down. It's giving me FOMO right now. I am getting a bit FOMO. Um, and it's not FOMO to go long again. It's not that kind of FOMO. In here, I don't look for a long. And here, I'm looking to short. But it's giving me FOMO because it keeps failing right here. So it's giving me the FOMO of re-entering on that short position. Um, that's the FOMO I have in here, is to re-enter on the short. Because we're failing to do this number right here right now. We're failing for this to turn outwards. We don't have a breakout until it does that. That's some playing around. It's playing around. It's not doing that. It's not breaking out. And it's moving real slow. So I think that's a trader's worst nightmare, in my opinion. It's not. It's to be right and get stopped out and be right. I think that's the worst. Not to get stopped out and be wrong, because you're gonna lose some money, but to get stopped out and be right. You know, to be looking at something and then you get stopped out and they go in your direction. I think that's, yeah, it's a nuisance. I was willing to just kind of wait for the delta to cross back up zero. Just thinking that this delta cross back up zero. RSI is going to be relatively fast, which is why I like to use it. It's faster decision making. It moves with price action for the most part. Um, MACD is great confirmation. It's a very good confirmation. I can tell you most of these indicators I did not like. I used to not like RSI. I used to not like MACD. The only one I used to like was Commodity Channel Index. CCI was the only indicator that I liked. I used to not like Bollinger's. I used to not like any of them except for CCI. I used to not like EMAs. I used to not like SMAs. Now you can't pay me to not like them. Again, we are still outside of standard deviation one. I meant two, which is the red line up here, at least on the 4 hour. You can see we're still we're still above it over here. So we're still showing strength over here, despite what we see on the 4 hour time frame. And you do got that open hand right here. So no change in the volatility as far as this lower one is concerned. You can see a little slight turn right here on this two. You can see a little slight turn right there. But this is what we need to see on the 15-minute is for that to open up. But that's still good. That's still some good right here. Take a look at this. At least while we inside it like that. It's exactly at the same place. So yeah, it's exactly at the same spot. Come on, Bitcoin. All right, if you're gonna roll down, roll down. I just like for you to go in either direction would be great, other than how we're just sitting here. That would be nice. It look like we're doing a little bit more in the 1 minute. I'll let y'all know if it does actually do something worthy. Right now, uh, right now it's not. This is the pattern formation here. What do we have? This could be a 4. Could be a wave 4 right here. From that 15-minute. Could be. Or that could have been a 5 right there. We're about to find out. If we get some action going, we will find out. I don't know whether to look at this like this. And then we're waiting on that next move up, or if I want to look at this like that. I don't care. Because we're at indecision anyway. And obviously, we were only putting in bull divs down here. That's why we were just walking the line. I think I would choose to get stopped out again. Take my chances while we're playing around. How did Ethereum do? Just out of curiosity. Same. I had to see it from the daily. I turn my levels off. I'm like, where are my levels? All right, so we're just basically in the same place. Okay. Just wondering on that. It breaks through. I would look at that 2650. Really watching the top, the bottom, and the top, and then 2771. told you over here. If we push through and grab this liquidity and then you see a wick and we're back underneath here, that could be a strong indication that we don't push beyond here. But that 78,850 is the next target in here before we hit that mother bar high right here. And you can see the liquidity through here around the 50 before there. And this was pretty interesting in here yesterday. Yesterday, because remember I entered the long position right here. So I didn't have to re-enter into a new one right here. I didn't have to. But what I did, because I TP'd one time when we did that golden pocket, the first golden pocket tap right here, which is slightly front ran it by a little bit, a few dollars right here. But that was the one TP that I did. So as price action was coming back down, I was saying to you yesterday, hey, we lose this right here. It's not exactly the right number, but you recall it being on the chart, being somewhere around this wick right here. So it's the 1 hour support level in here. If we lose that, then we're looking for price action to come back to our trend line here, to our ascending trend line. But what I did yesterday was I saw this liquidity right here, and I figured it would take me out, which it didn't. So when I looked here for this liquidity to be taken right here, I moved my stop loss up to here to just scratch off a little bit more profit from the long, since I did have half of the position still open. And it got here. It got here, and then it bounced off of that. Now, of course, I did not FOMO. I didn't FOMO that because I had a signal that popped up in my chart that indicated wait for the same level that you talked about earlier to get hit, and then take the entry. And it lined up with a golden pocket, and it also lined up with the 4 hour level of support. So yeah, I didn't have to move this, but I'm glad I did too. At the same time, no, I still ended up walking away with about the same thing because I didn't do anything heavy. I put back in about as much as I had on it before. So yeah, I haven't opened up another trade on that account yet. Not on that account. And like I said, I closed it out at 786, which was right here. I think the 786 was right here. But I was like, dang it, stopped me out and then bounced up, but nothing said to take it. Nothing. Nothing indicated to me to take it there. Yeah, so wait. And so I waited, and it was oh, I saw it happening anyway, because over here on QTD, we had did that move right there. We did this right before it happened, right before this sweep happened right here. We had did one of these right here, and I was like, I can't enter on this. And then we came up, tapped it as resistance, came up, tapped it as resistance. And then I said enter, because I know we can't lose this. If we're losing this, then I'm out. So, I mean, we can lose it, but I understand the importance of this trend line, of this demand line. I understand the importance of this demand line to take the entry right here. Price comes back into it. Forget about all the red. Forget about that. Get in right here. Support level. Take it. And that's what happened. And then that time we came up, You know, another slight rejection in here, but the 1 hour gave me the Jack and the Beanstalk, which is this right here. I saw it drop down for that acceptance for that Jack and the Beanstalk right there. I love myself a Jack and the Beanstalk. And of course, you know, you're always looking for price action to hold above the dynamic cloud. I'm not bearish with something like this. It's nice. And this was just a minor situation right there. We had got another minor. No, that's a Jack and the Beanstalk right there. We had got another minor somewhere back here. Yeah, right here. We got one. Something like this. Something's causing a whole bunch of noise from my. Oh, that's annoying. I don't know what's stuck under it. It's grinding it. Ew. I just hear it scrubbing on my desk. We might start to expand. Let's see. 32 now. Doing better. And we're still rising. Momentum is still rising. It's just slow. Like it's not an impulsive move to the upside right now. It's not aggressive. But momentum is definitely still rising through here to take out that liquidity. Get our little push up here. Again, 1 hour looks great. 4 hour, 4 hour looks good. 1 hour is looking the best. Got a pine tree. We got a pine tree. Last time well, not the last time, but the time before that, I think was when I did the evening stream. We got a pine tree, and we got all lit up green, and we did absolutely nothing. We did exactly what we're doing right now. We're just sitting around looking crazy. But momentum is rising. This could have been a 4. This could be a 4. I'm putting in 5. Just looking at the bear div. And this is just from that prior high, which is why, you know, I got the little broom right there. It's already been swept. You're looking for this right here. And 21. While that's moving, I'm just gonna check something over here. I want to see. Actually, let me just open up a whole nother. Didn't I say Tesla was today? Hold on. I thought Tesla was today. Am I wrong? Let me see. Yeah, reads today. It's after market close. Okay. April 22nd. Tesla in its current state would be corrective. Uh, Tesla earnings really don't tell you anything about Tesla, whether or not it's going to go up or down. It really doesn't. No, it hit resistance. It hit some resistance, but uh, for what it worth, it looks corrective. We'll see what happens. Then you got Apple, which I've shared my views on Apple, and and I posted an update on it because for me the chart just looks exactly like it looked before. Nothing has changed with that chart despite the situation. Well, despite the changes in the company, I don't know. It doesn't seem to have any bearings on price action right now. Just looks like it's doing what it would normally do, what it would be expected to do, in my opinion. It hit some resistance. It's getting a reaction at that resistance. There we go with this breakout. There we go. There we go. There we go. Little quick spike right there. No, actually, no expansion. No expansion. No expansion. But like I said, 4 hour was still outside standard deviation 2, which means that there's no change in this trend up. It's still strong. This is just a noisy chart. It's just a noisy chart. I like how they rejected it real quick though, underneath that prior high. I like how they did that. 22 minutes left. See if we're going to get some sort of change out of that 4 hour. I jumped back into the short, not because I don't think that it won't get stopped out, but that was, it was a little, it's been a little giving right here. So might as well pay some fees. I do believe it gets stopped out. Let me just say that. I do believe it gets stopped out though. So I'm barely in this trade. If you saw that, that means my entry is right here on that prior high, that closure, which means, yeah, I'm barely in it. Could have did better. No, that's good. And the reason I know it'll get stopped out is because the 1 hour looks good. 4 hour, I mean, 4 hour looks good. But things happen. So things can happen. Probably would be easier to, I mean, we'll really know. I mean, I'm just chancing it anyway. There's no better place to chance it than here and here. Oh yeah, and then the last one is going to be where we have that gap fill at. But I really haven't looked at that as a probability, but it's up there. It's just the areas where I'm looking at where I know I take my chances at. I know I'm gonna take my chances here. I know I'm gonna take my chances here. I'm not looking at this up here. That I'm really not looking up here. But I think I'm gonna put it right here though. Yeah, this golden pocket right here. But you got that 382 right here. Take my chances on that 382. It's three places. I will risk it for the biscuit. I'm sorry. This is a little bit. I get like this, so forgive me. Right now, we're just ranging in between standard deviation 1 and 2. So it's really, really, really extremely tight range that we're in between on the Bollinger. If you do Bollinger Band, that's basically all we're doing is we're just staying within standard deviation 1 and 2. Right now, we're staying in between 1, which is the orange line, and then popping outside of 2. But we're not breaking down below that. Staying in the pocket. 12 minutes. on this 4-hour candle. Could just be sitting around waiting on that 4-hour, to be honest. Sink us all the way in. Come on, Bitcoin. Let's do something. Let's do something here. Um, and again, if you are shorting here, I don't see anything that insinuates that it's going down. nothing, nothing right now that insinuates that it's going to go down. Uh, Everything is still pointing to the upside. Everything looks pretty clean through here. Um, you know, it's not trending at the moment on the 15-minute time frame. Trending has nothing to do with the momentum, but it's not trending right now in the 15-minute in the zone. But if you are short and we're just taking a risk in case the inevitable happens or the unexpected happens, and it does want to correct a bit from here. Like I said, I guess we'll find out when we get this 15-minute started and to get this new 4-hour candle open, because it's chilling right now. 4 hours still outside of standard deviation 2, which means trend is still up and it's not looking to roll over. That could change. We are in the inside range right now, so it is a Harami candle. It is a Harami candle. Possible that this was a fifth wave, may just be a four. I really don't try to figure it out too much. If it's not the clearest, it'll break out, it'll break up or break down. No one wants to hear that, but you can see it's an inside range. Everything looks good. Looks good here. Everything looks good. So, um, if you're short and prepare to get stopped out, that's all I'm saying. I am shorting, so I'm prepared to get stopped out. We didn't have any information this morning. I didn't see anything. I don't see anybody speaking that's going to cause a problem. I don't see anything about Trump supposed to have a speech today. I don't see any of that. Uh, None of that. Got again, you got Tesla earnings today after hours. It did push into some resistance in here. Right now, I got the zone for the weekly average range. It's kind of like how it's done in a way like how VWAP would be, like giving you an average of where participation took place. That's what my weekly average ranges indicate. So right now we did hit some resistance. If I wasn't using that and I was just say using pivots instead, you can see the one that we hit right here, which was 407.36. If it gaps up, I will look for it to gap up into about this 436 to this 456. I think that's within, yeah, somewhere between this one and this one. I look for it to gap up into one of these two. If it does gap up after hours, look for that. But currently, hit some resistance to a perfect T, not perfect, but good enough. Hit some I think I did Tesla based on weekly and not monthly on the pivots. And if it gaps down, I just look for it to return down here into support level. I don't think that there was anything outside of, yeah, can look for this. I actually don't have a pivot in here. There wasn't one in here, just a weekly range. For some reason, I don't know why. Um, but it looks corrective right now through here. It looks corrective. This does date after hours, after market close. So it's never really had any bearings on Tesla. So I don't know. Other thing, while we're on pause, this is how my chart has been set up for a minute. So like I said, I didn't see anything different about it. It came up here, it tapped back into top side of the wedge structure in here, and it didn't break out. It's resistance. It acted like resistance. I don't see anything that suggests any sort of wild price action, with the whole Tim Cook stepping down the CEO thing, still in the company. I don't know what that means to other people. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all we did in here on Apple. I don't think that Apple really rolls over too hard. I think when I posted on it, I mentioned about 260 or something like that. I know if I look at it from, we'll put on 24, I think I posted my 24-hour chart. Just so you can see it a little clearer that it was just simply a rejection from the top side. Like that's natural. Like maybe it's not ready to break out. Got nothing to do with Tim Cook. You know, uh, whatever. Yeah, I mentioned 261.50 because I do want to hold here. So any sort of a move down, I don't want to see price action rolling outside of here. If it does that, then it could indicate something a little bit different in here. But right now, 261 is about the max I'm looking at on the pullback in here, and then hopefully it will turn around and get the push up. Don't know that to be true. Um, I will be looking for that to hold. Hopefully that'll hold. 261. Hopefully that'll hold. See a roll back up above 264 or something like that if it does, and turn around and break out, that'd be great. Resistance would still be up here, the top side of the channel right here. You know, the Apple channel right here. I don't know why my bottom looks like this. Maybe I do know why my bottom looks like this. And I said if it does lose that, then I'll be looking for it to come all the way back down here to the 245.55. I would look for something like that. I don't know what the likely chances of it breaking down would be. Uh, I do. This was something that I was watching in here on it right here. And it's still holding that one. Still holding this one right here. So I know it was putting in a bit of a bear div as it came up to the resistance, which is why I was like, it's a natural reaction. It has a bear div right here. It has a bear div. Um, I do like this part right here, but you can see Delta is going down. So Delta's converging towards the zero line while the MACD is still showing strength. As long as that MACD continues to show strength and push higher, the Delta will flip back up. But usually, it could be a failed attempt from the MACD. I think it failed. Yeah, it failed over here too. So you can see how the MACD came up above zero, got above Delta, but Delta was declining in here, which meant it rolled down. So hopefully, hopefully it doesn't do a second rollover. That's why I said it's three things, three conditions: above zero, above delta, and they have to agree with each other. And it's not agreeing right now. But until that happens, I'm bullish on Apple. 261 probably be the line in the sand. Like I said, 261.50 would be the line in the sand before it might actually roll over. But everything else looks fine in my opinion. I mean, you got, like I said, you got the little bear dip in here as it pushed up into the top trend line there. I hope it works. I hope, let me just say that much. I would really love for it to. Um, we'll see. Nothing serious so far. Yeah, we kept putting in all these little red dots over here. Apple, Apple. Which the red dots and the green dots on my chart just indicates the start of an expansion. Be looking for price, looking for a reversal somewhere after that. It's not necessarily immediately when you see the dot. It's typically like somewhere after that. Like you can start looking for some sort of change. Either that or it's going to diverge. All right. All right, momentum did pick up. I mean, the trend picked up over here, and you can see it right here too. You see that 1553. I can see from something else that the trend did pick up a little bit more here. Like I said, it's more likely to get stopped out than not get stopped out in here, but the trend is picking up. It's really looking unsustainable. it really is looking unsustainable, at least from a 15-minute perspective. It is looking unsustainable. Uh, but we'll see how this next push goes when we get it. BTC 78,436 is our resistance number to break out of. Correct. 78,436. What do I have in here? I got 78,850 as the next level of resistance in here for Bitcoin, at least based on the 4-hour time frame. Is this right here? But I'm looking forward to get to that 79,360. I'm looking forward to get above that, take the liquidity above that high. But this is the next resistance level that I have highlighted. I usually highlight my resistance levels based on 4-hour and higher. So this would be next for me. And and of course, you have the liquidity past here. You have this liquidity right here too. So yeah, let's see how those three pair up. Let me just see. Actually, these two. So 78,850. Yeah, that's around the 50, and that next bit of liquidity in here. That's what I'm assuming in here is somewhere around in here. Oh, we got that 4-hour candle open. Like I said, we'll be waiting on this 4-hour candle to open to really, really tell us something. That slightly pushed us back in below that standard deviation too. But the time frame looks good. The time frame looks good. It is a little extended. You are getting the bear divs in here on the 4-hour time frame as well. Momentum is not moving as fast as price action is through here. But I honestly can't say that there's anything wrong with the chart. It's worth taking the risk through here though. It is definitely worth taking the short risk. It is. At the very least, we'll come back into about 77.69 to 77. We'll come back into something like this at least. Any one of these three right here be fine with me. I don't think it comes down that low, but my thoughts don't really matter. Um, Around this little resistance. Seems more likely to go up than down still. You in 15-minute? So you're looking at this high right here, I'm assuming. A little head and shoulders on potential head and shoulders on the indicator. But yeah, I honestly, I mean, all I can say is that momentum is up over here. We are, in this little range right here right now. still continuing to coil, and they're probably going to coil us out until market opens, to be honest with you. They can do that. At best, we sweep this top side right here and then come down here and, you know, short it at least into this lower part right here. And I think like I said, right now we're just staying in between here. We're not even dropping below that right now. That's 78,219. We're not dropping below that right now, which is still staying in the pocket right now. But when it does do it, I guess I don't know. Just right in here. We can see it on the, yeah. Just holding us with these squeezes. With the squeeze, they just holding us. Same here. That's 78,452. Or 78, like you were saying, 78,436, depending on what chart you're using. It's not actually resistance, though. It's not resistance. I think we also already just then ever so slightly swiped it. I think we did 78,453. Yeah, we ever so slightly swiped it. But it's most certainly not resistance. Resistance is coming in from the prior high right here. This is just coiling. I'm down, of course, on this trade. Um, I haven't closed it out yet, even though it's come up here. Just kind of giving it a little bit more time before I do it because I don't want to just keep paying a fee on it. So, see, it's like I said, I'm prepared to be stopped out of it or to close it out, whichever one reacts the fastest. Um, and I'd rather close it out than add to it, even if I believe I mean, it's worth looking for shorts in here. I'm gonna pay that fee first. One hour might be a better watch. I updated this and it's got these lines coming on here. Yeah, looks healthy. I just want to move away from some of the noise from the 15-minute. Just you can see how it really grabbed that liquidity if you wanted to do an SFP. And, again, I don't think you get much out of I don't think we get much out of the short in here. It really just doesn't look like that. I am interested though in the swing up and the swing down right here. We're at, yeah, uh, it just looks strong. Okay. If it's merely a sweep, if it's merely a sweep of that bar right there. Then, like I said, a common theme with this right here is to um, come back down here towards the low of it. So at least in a scalp perspective, can get that much out of this. Mm. Liquidity heat map does look at this liquidity right here too. It's still a bear day for now. That's still a bear day right now. It does highlight, the liquidity, down here, right below that mother bar. This 20. You can see it. You can see it as the mother bar from the 48 hour. So you can see that it does highlight the liquidity just below here, that mother bar, and then of course that extra liquidity that's to the top side there. Um, so at the least, At the least, they could do that. You know, sweep one side, sweep the other. Maybe it gives more. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. CME still looking good. CME still pushing up. 'There she goes. '20 SMA tap. Got a work meeting, got to go. Have a great day. Thank you, Y Crypto YT. You have a great day too. Appreciate you so much. So just a little slight reaction at that 20 SMA. That 15 did show. Um, that was it because the Delta was converging. Delta was declining. MACD was still going up. They're both on the same page right now. So a little bit more of a reaction here on the 1 hour time frame. Um, and again, it's 8:30, and ah, I need to get out of here myself. But again, I don't see this as being a narrative again. If I mean, right now the chart looks fine in my opinion. Like we're actually gonna make it up here to grab that liquidity off of this off of that mother ball on the weekly time frame. In my humblest opinion, that's what it looks like to me. If we don't see that happening and you see price action coming back down here towards this trend line again, I don't see this as holding up again. Like we've had our multiple taps on it. We've had our multiple taps on it. I just don't see it being a thing again. I think if we do something like that, then it's over this time. But you can see how we've held it very well through here. I just don't see it being the same again. And if it's not the same again, for me, something that I will be watching for, um, well, number one is going to be making sure that price action can hold here around the 72,815.24. Okay, that's the weekly line in the sand right there. That would be number one right here. You have a golden pocket in here. You also have this 4 hour level over here. But this is like very, 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 very important right here. The 72,815 is very, very, very important right here because this is what it took for us to get this move up, is to get above that point there on the 15 minute. I'm sorry, on the weekly time frame. It was very difficult to get above it. So if we break down and we get below it, we might have a challenge on trying to reverse from here. Okay, so I would watch that. And again, when I say that, I say this. I'm talking about. Oh, I realized that I had dropped that. Forgot I dropped that down to those three. When I say that, this is what I'm looking at right here. That 72, 8, 15, 24 is this right here. This is where we struggled to get above right through here. So we don't want to lose that. Our little neckline, we don't want to come back down here and roll down below. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, in my opinion. It looks like we do get in here and we take this. It looks like we so close to it. I can taste it, you know. But I'm just speaking to you just in case, because anything can happen. I don't know. Something can come out today. I don't know. Anything can happen. That's all I'm saying. We want to make sure that we manage to hold that 72,815 is from a Binance chart. You can go on whatever chart you actually trade with, and you can highlight that on your chart. So below this right here, it's a problem. Um, and I'm fixated on this. I've been fixated on it for a long time, but I'm fixated on these equal lows down through here being taken. I only have my majors on. What I'm really looking at in here, but you could look at, like, if it takes the liquidity right here, you could look at this right here. Let's just say it takes that liquidity over here. It just, if this was to happen, and then you look for it to come back up this point. So that'll be like your SFP. It's not this right here. If it pushes down into here and bounces back up, that could be an SFP. It's like it's a good example. I don't have one. I guess like that or like that or like that. But you could use that high right there as an affiliate. I think I think like if I were to pull a fib in here, where are we at the last time? I just know that this liquidity in here is spicy. I just know that. I don't think any of this is gonna happen. I'll post on it though if it does. I don't think any of that's gonna happen though. But just in case, I want to say I didn't say it, and then it does. But don't count on that trend line again. Do not count on that trend line again. I don't see it working again. I just don't see it working again. Bullish divergence continuing. Need to see a fast move in here. Without it, we're just going to continue to create bullish divs in here. So again, I think all the time frames look pretty decent for this move up here. I start looking again for a short in here myself personally. Like I said, I'm not opposed. I'm looking at it right here. I'm in the short right now, barely in profit. Um, as I shared with you, I'm barely in profit because I'm actually on this line right on this prior high right here. Wasn't going to add anything, wasn't going to close without just in case it's just a liquidity grab in here. But I will if it comes back up here again. If it breaks back out of here again, I'm gonna cut it, and then I'll be looking to try again right in here. And the 50% retracement, it's a psychological level. I don't want to try too many times in here. It really has. It depends on what the chart looks like for me in the process. Um, but at best, if this does give something, like I said, I think it'll come down here to the bottom side of this bar right here. At least, at least do that. You will just end up putting in bullish divergence based on how aggressively it moved to the upside. It's just be some bullish divergence in here for another move back up. But at least if you're shorting in here, you can bet on that. I would take some profit if we manage to get that. If not, it breaks out and comes on up. And that's all she wrote. It comes on up. Don't forget, we do still have that second gap in here. But everything in the chart that I've shared so far from the start of the stream, everything points to here. Everything points to here. So that's why I just keep, that's why I keep talking about it because everything points to it. With that said, I love and appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the morning. Comes up again, I'm out. Trying it again up here. If I have a reason to consider that, maybe I will. I just don't want to. I don't want to keep entering. I mean, like at least I don't want to. I don't want to keep entering. But it's definitely worth it around this area. And again, around here. That's it. We caught the 20 SMA, which is where we're holding at right now. Just caught that 20. Bullish divergence. Pushing to the next liquidity zone with a bear div. Which isn't until it gets up here close to the 50, close to the mother bar. When it gets into here, you know, I am watching this for a push up and a rollover because right now it is a bear div. You have a lower low, lower high. I'm sorry, lower high on the RSI. You have a higher high on price action. So I'm looking for the invalidation and then a breakdown. We're pretty relatively strong at that point. So identifying the weakness could be a good entry in here right now. You know, again, a slight bear dip here on the 1 hour time frame, lower high in the RSI, higher high in price action here. So that is bearish divergence until proven otherwise. And then from there, it's all about the cool off. So it's all about it. RSI coming up and coming back down this zone right here as it is in relative strength. I know some people think over bought. I don't use the RSI in that way. I use it for what the name is, which is RSI, relative strength index. I use it for that and for divergence. Because if you use it to say it's overbought, you'll find out quickly, and I've back tested it plenty. You'll find out quickly how wrong you are. Above 70 is very strong. In fact, once it gets above 60, you're in strength. So high as 70 weakness. It's not overbought. It's not that kind of indicator. It is a relative strength indicator. Above 70 is strong, and that means it pushes. So you can see 70 took place right here, continued up. 70 took place right here. Look at that strong move outside of 70. And you'll see that repeatedly. So it's not an overbought. It's not overbought. It's relatively strong. Relative strength index. Look for the divergence. That's all I can tell you. Anyway, I will see you later.